many people wanted to see Rob Pelinka pull off a trade to get Russell Westbrook off of the team. And Rob Pelinka was patient, stood firm, wasn't willing to compromise the future and the assets for just role guys that may or may not make us better. And many people feel like he should have done something. I personally feel like he made the right decision. I don't think any of those moves were worth both first-round picks. I don't think any of those moves made us that marginally better. And even the Indiana Pacers deal had a lot of risks and concerns, right? Miles Turner and his health issues, him being a flight risk and could just leave, being stuck with Buddy Hield. And if something happens with Miles Turner, or let's say it just doesn't work out, say you trade Russ and it doesn't work out, you're stuck, because you have no assets to get out of that situation. These guys might not be good enough to make us that much better, but this is our team for the next several years. So why not wait and see what's on the horizon? Well, thanks to a little someone named Victor Wembanyama, he may actually be the catalyst for Rob Pelinka just getting a bona fide stud deal. Seriously. I mean, there are going to be teams this season at some point that are going to just say, we're not very good. Let's just full on tank. Even the Charlotte Hornets, right? They are very likely going to miss LaMelo Ball for a couple weeks, and they're not very good. They don't even have a point guard or anything, so they're going to be full-fledged tank mode. If they're winning games, they might just say, hey, let's blow it up and get rid of some of these guys. And you're going to have other teams in the league that are doing the same thing. You're going to have teams that are just middle of the pack, that they realize we're not any good, we're not anything like that. Let's go try to get a guy like Victor, or maybe even a Scoot. Henderson is a great price. And just this draft in general is really hyped, really excited. There's supposed to be a lot of really great talent in this draft. So it would make sense that a lot of teams may just decide, hey, let's just lose. Or you might even get a team that is just a bad team. Say the Spurs. Say the Spurs are second in the standings. They might just say, hey, let's just get rid of, Josh Richardson and all these guys. We're only a game or two out of being the worst odds to get Victor. Let's just full-fledged unload people. Things like that. You're going to have a lot of teams that are going to have fire sales. And the beauty is, the Lakers aren't going to have to give up really anything, because at that point, you are doing these teams a massive favor. If they get Victor and they win the Victor sweepstakes, well then guess what? Their future was worth it, right? They were worth just giving the Lakers whatever they need. Even if the Lakers win the championship off of that, if you get Victor, guess what? Your whole argument can be, hey, you're right, the Lakers did win a championship because of our trade, but we just got Victor. And he has proven that he is that stud. I wouldn't be shocked if teams like the Pacers, maybe even the Wizards, the Magic, teams like that just say, hey, you know what? We're not very good. Let's unload some of these guys. Portland, maybe the Blazers just decide, hey, we're not that good. Let's just sit Damian Lillard and let's, move Jeremy Grant and some of these guys. Lakers should come in. The Kings. Maybe the Kings want to unload some guys. The Spurs, like I mentioned earlier. There's always going to be that surprise team or two that nobody expects that's just bad. Maybe the Bulls. What if the Bulls just are terrible this year? Because, think about it. You got the Bucks, the Sixers, the Raptors, the Nets, the Hawks, the Cavs. All are better, right? And yeah, the Bulls might make the playoffs, but do you really want to be a play-in team? They might just say, hey, you know what? Let's just blow it up. We're 500 at 40 games into the season. We're not going to be very good. Maybe if we just blow it up, give the young guys, maybe we, even if we don't get Victor, maybe we go get Scoot. Maybe we fall in the standings or something like that. It's just, I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm just saying it's a real thing to keep an eye on. It's a real thing to be on the lookout for. And so, yes, the Lakers, I do believe, are going to go into this season with Russ and these three guys. And I think if it works, I don't think the Lakers make a deal unless it's just a too good to be true deal, right? Unless it's just something where it's we have to take this. Say for whatever reason, say the Pacers are, say they're the second worst team in the league, right? And they're just hey, we'll just give you Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for Westbrook because we want to lose a couple more games than we already have, and we just want to ensure that we have the best odds to go get Victor. Something like that. Maybe I could see Rob Pelinka hey, I don't have to give up any first. Let's do that. Or, maybe a pick swap or a heavily protected first round pick. Maybe it's like top 10 protected or something like that, to where it's like, okay, like you could do something like that. I'm not saying that would happen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Victor is going to change a lot of teams' perspectives. If there weren't odds to going and getting Victor, a lot of these teams would do some like unspeakable things to try to go tank for Victor, because he's a guy that can completely change the tides of your franchise. And not just being a guy that can completely change the tides of your franchise, he's a guy that is big money. An NBA exec per Woj even said that Victor equates to about $500 million. So absolutely teams are going to be just doing whatever they can to tank for Victor. And so I do think the Lakers try to see what they got with Russell Westbrook in this big three. I think that very likely if they're good, I don't think they make a deal. I think if they're good, I think they just leave it pat and just see what happens, see what ends up being the end result. But if they're like middle of the pack, I could see them saying, okay, like, does this trade make us better and put us further along than we are now? If yes, I think they could make a trade. Or if they're terrible and they could get pieces for next year and the future, I think they do that. Like let's say the Hornets deal, pops up, or, another deal, say like a younger team, say Orlando's got a couple pieces that they want to move off of, right? And you could get some like young assets for now and the future. Then yeah, I could see something like that. I could see the Lakers going, okay, like, maybe they help us right now win a couple more games. If not, we're still in the same boat we are in now. But these two guys are guys that we're confident in for next season and the season after, and the future after, stuff like that. Again, not saying that that'll be the case, but I do think the Lakers will have a lot more options than they had this offseason. A lot more. And not just that, Russ's value goes up as the season goes on because it's less money that they have to pay for him, stuff like that. There's just a lot of benefits for the Lakers and Rob Pelinka just holding tight and hanging on and just waiting to see what happens, waiting to see what develops. Like, for example, the Pacers deal, I don't see that going anywhere. But what I do see is the Pacers deal and the asking price dropping as the season goes on. Say Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, even if they have a good season, I don't see teams lining up to go trade for these guys because they're not that good. So, like, how many teams are looking at Miles Turner and going, you know what? We are a Miles Turner away from winning a championship. Probably not very many. Most of the top teams have their center. And then Buddy Hield, like, yeah, three-point shooting's great, but he can't play a lick of defense. So how many teams that are going to say, oh, we need Buddy Hield, like, that's the guy to put us over the top? He might be a guy that makes you better. Miles Turner might be a guy that makes you better, but I don't think he's a guy that really takes you over the top. So I think that their asking price as time goes on is going to come down. They're not going to want to lose Miles Turner for nothing. So you might as well get something back for nothing, especially if Indiana is terrible, right? So my point is that Victor's going to be a factor in any trade deal. Because anybody that's willing to just siphon off their assets, their role players and quality guys, are doing so for Victor. So if you're Rob Pelinka, you know that. And you're going in there going, hey, whoa. Yeah, you're taking on Russ, but guess what? We are greatly improving your odds of going and getting a franchise cornerstone that you're going to have for the next 10 plus years. That has value in and of itself. Russ is $47 million. Victor equates to $500 million. So, are we talking assets to us? Now, no, I don't think it's going to go to that point. But what I do think is that the Lakers very likely could end up getting a deal that is just a home run deal that I think teams will let the Lakers fleece them just solely at a chance to go get Victor. Because this is could be once in a generational type of player. This is not just like a unicorn type player, as LeBron said. Like, this is an alien. This is a guy that we have never seen that can completely change your franchise from a financial business standpoint to just being a legit contender in a couple years. And so a lot of these teams, I really believe, are going to start looking and going, come around the trade deadline going, we're not that far out of being the worst team in the league. Let's go take our chances. Who are guys that we can get rid of that teams would want? Even guys that you might not want to get rid of, they might end up just getting rid of for a chance to get Victor. This is going to be a very unique situation, unlike anything we have ever seen. And Rob Pelinka I don't think planned for this, because nobody, Victor was hyped, but he didn't become this hyped until we saw him in Vegas against Scoot Henderson, right? That's when everything changed. So I don't think Rob, planned for this, but I do think Rob is waiting and saying, hey, let's see what opens up later on down the line. Every year, every couple months, there's some disgruntled star that wants out. Let's wait for that to happen, and then maybe we can convince them to come here. That's what I think Rob was looking at. Rob was looking at it like, none of these guys really make us that much better. Let's see what the next big deal or the next big player is that wants out, and then we'll try to go after that. That's what I think Rob was looking at. But that might actually happen now with Victor. Like if the Wizards are terrible, right? Do they just say, let's trade Bradley Beal? Let's say they're a bottom 5 team, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. The Wizards aren't that good. They're not that good at all. And Bradley Beal sooner or later is probably going to want out. So if you're the Wizards, do you go, hey, let's unload Bradley Beal and maybe unload Porzingis and a couple of these other guys and just embrace the tank and see if we can just tank faster than these other guys and maybe go get a Victor to compare with, with our young guys? Like, let's go do that. And now we have like our franchise cornerstone. Not out of the realm of possibility. I just think the Lakers are going to have so many trade options in the coming months that they are very excited to just be patient and just wait. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think that this really is going to have an impact? Do you think that the Lakers were smart being patient? And what kind of deals do you think will come up? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. However you feel, let me know down in the comments.